Okay, welcome back to the second tutorial for the batch program. This will be one going through the basic settings of the program itself. You'll find the settings, obviously file settings, and in this window we've got our generals. So when you click your open parts in this left window like we showed before, it shows up in the right window whatever is referenced through those assemblies and parts, and they were color coded. And that color coding you can set here depending on what you would like. So in my case, parts, assemblies, and presentations, that's referring to the parent part. And if the drawing exists, it'll be black. If the drawing doesn't exist, it'll be gray. If the part itself is a reference, it'll be blue. And if the drawing exists, but um, the the model doesn't, it'll show up as red. You can change these to your liking. The reference search pattern default obviously is narrow, which assumes that the drawing is in the same location as your part. If you find that that's not finding the drawings or the reference part, just choose broad. It'll be a little slower, but it does take a broader search path, and you might be able to find them that way. Experimental functions, we're not going to deal with in this tutorial. They deal with a bunch of extra stuff that I have been still fine tuning. So that'll have its own video in the future. For our print settings, your printer will be whatever is chosen default through Inventor. So if you need to change that, go to your print settings in Inventor and change that. But this way, when you print through the program, it won't need to do any sort of adjustments. You can choose the standard print sizes that your printer has. In my case, I've only got an A size printer. But if you have a B size, you can choose the sizes here, and what that does is it'll give you the option. So when you have a larger than B, you can scale to whatever sizes that your printer accommodates. Otherwise, you can just print full size every time, and it'll ask you if it's oversized. You can open your settings each time before the print if you have different settings depending on your needs. The drawing location here can be added to the drawing itself, so that when you print it off, it'll show where it's found on your system, which I find useful for if you have a loose drawing on the floor and you don't know where it's saved. That'll save you some time searching. But this only happens during the print. So if you export to PDF, that won't show up. So your file structure won't be visible if you want to export and send to a client. Under the export options, we have our three main choices: PDF and DXF and DWG. These are pretty much the same. The difference in the PDF is that we have our options for sheets and merging. That's kind of handy. But for our locations, we can either choose every single time, have a single location where it always puts the files into, or we can tag a structure folder or folder structure onto a location. So if the location is saved on our C drive, it'll go C drive, drawings, and PDF. It'll save it in that tag location to keep everything in the same order. We have the option for master folder. This one's a little complicated. Basically, what it does is you can read that through. It'll take different parts from various folders and correlate them into the same save location to make things a little easier to find. I'll go through that in the export option in a different video. And you can append your revision. This will add a -R and then whatever your revision number or level is, which is very handy when you have multiple revs and you want to keep a history. So you can archive the old revisions. What that'll do is put everything that's older than your current revision into an archive folder, so you can have a history of what you've exported. Opening a folder, pretty self-standard. It'll open up wherever you saved, so you don't have to go searching through your file structure every time. For DXFs and DWGs, again, very similar to the PDFs with the revision and the archives and whatnot, but we do have an option for custom INI. So if you have certain line weights and colors that you'd like to show up, or your customer prefers, you can select that, just browse whatever location of your INI. And DWGs are, again, exact same thing, same structure. Rev tables are it's an important one to go through, because if you don't have these column names set to your rev table, they won't show up. So make sure that each of these, the numbers and dates, that this here represents exactly what is showing up on your drawing revision table title. So if it says revision instead of rev, it's gonna skip that. It won't see them as the same. You can add custom options if you've got more that you'd like. These two are you can't change them because those are the default live properties. You can select and deselect if you don't want to show them in your edits, but be that as it may. The base revision you can change to your liking. So in our case, I start with an A revision for a review drawing, and then when it's approved for manufacturing, it switches over to a numeric, which is another option that we've got. I'll show in a different video, but the base revision will automatically pump in issued for review or manufacturing dependent on the numerical or alphabetical revision. Location is just obviously where you have your standard location so that it knows which way to go when it resets them. That is pretty much the settings. Hopefully you'll find that useful, and let me know what you think of the app, and I'll see you in our next video. Thanks for watching.